All right, so that we focus really on the telephone. Now let's focus on the complaints themselves, and there's some overlap which I'll skip. Okay, some interesting statistics about customers. A recent study showed customers stop doing business with the organization for any of the following reasons. Well, 1% don't do business because they die. Can't help that. 3% move away, 5% other interests, 9% competitive reasons, 14% product dissatisfaction. Look at this one. Okay? You go to Macy's, and you're waiting online there, and you want to buy something, especially now Christmas season is coming, and you want to buy something. And somebody is rude to you. What do? Got the sweater in your hand. What do?
Put it down.
You put it down and you leave. And when you leave and you go home, what do?
Call and complain.
Well, you're one of the few. Most of us wind up saying to whomever is at home, you know what happened to me? If you go to work the next morning, they say the same thing. But they don't come back. Okay? I can't tell you of so many instances that I know of where someone used home care, someone used some type of service that the person came and was rude, and when now they needed home care, not them, somebody else that they knew, don't use them. Let me tell you what happened. So, lose a lot of business that way. What do complaining customers want? Well, they want to be taken seriously and treated with respect. They want immediate action. They want someone to admit to a mistake. They want to clear up the problem. They want to be listened to. Where do we get this from? We got it from the very first session when we asked you about complaining customers. Remember, if you were there, you told stories about what happened to you, and we said, how would you like to be treated? This is amazing statistic right here, okay? What customers wanted and got in response to their complaints. They wanted their product or service repaired. 84% said they wanted that. Only 20%, 27% got it. Assurance the problem wouldn't be repeated. 84% complaining customers said that. Only 17%. An explanation of why the problem occurred. 78% wanted it, only 80% got it. Able to express anger or tell their side of the story. 72%, only 33% got it. An apology. 70% wanted it, only 24%. 3 out of 4 people never got an apology. Thank you for your business, money back, free product, financial compensation, revenge. Think about that. Think about how easy it is for you to look good. All you have to do is give the apology. You're better than 3/4 of everybody else, okay? All you have to do is fix the problem. So it's easy to be a hero. Okay, we talked about these here. So, 10 strategies for handling complaints. First, listen without interrupting. When we talk about the irate customer, we'll get into that a lot. Don't get defensive. Remember, if they're angry, it's not at you. You didn't do anything. Okay? And even if it was you, okay, your getting angry is not going to solve the problem. It's just going to get you upset. Apologize using a sad but glad statement. What does that mean? I'm sorry that happened, but I'm glad you brought it to my attention. So now we could fix it. So it makes the person. My aunt's over at the Wartburg for some rehab. And as a matter of fact, she's in Yonkers. And I told them to use Dominican Sisters, so it'll probably be yourself. In any event, she was there. And one evening, I guess the aide that was supposed to take care of her didn't. I'll just say that, okay? And she was very upset about it. She didn't sleep all night. The next morning, she wound up talking to the nurse who came in. And the nurse got someone, and you know, she she's an elderly woman. And she said, you know, I'm really upset about this, but I don't want, you know, to get anybody in trouble. I don't want any repercussions, you know, all of this. And what the person said was exactly that. You know, I'm very sorry that happened. It really shouldn't have happened. But I'm so glad you told me. Because unless you tell me, you can't fix it. You wouldn't know that it happened. So thank you for doing it. She felt so good about that person and turned the situation around. You want to express empathy. Empathy meaning, I'm sorry, I can understand how either frustrating it is, how upsetting it is, whatever it might be. Try to clarify the problem. What is it that the customer really needs? Not necessarily what they want. We'll talk later about the difference, but what do they really need? Sometimes when people call up and they say, you know, no one came to see me. I was supposed to have a visit today. We talked to the nurses about this. Supposed to have a visit and nobody's here. What is it that customer really needs? Did they really need the visit?
More like social interaction.
Yeah, they needed reassurance. Maybe they were frightened. Am I okay? Am I going to be all right? Is my wound okay? They want that reassurance. So, when we talk to the nurses, we tell them, you let them know, you find out how they're doing and all that. You say, Mrs. So-and-so, we're going to try and get someone out there this afternoon, but if we can't get somebody out there this afternoon, I'm going to call you back personally just to see how you're doing. And right away it makes the person feel better. And that's all it takes. Explain what you can and cannot do, and discuss the alternatives. Take action. That's what people, complaining customers want. And to the extent you can, follow up. It's so nice today when you go to a doctor or a dentist, very often the next day they'll call up and they'll say, just wanted to check on how you're doing. You say, gee, that's nice. They're concerned about me. Same thing, follow up. You fix the problem, you want to follow up, make sure everything's okay. Okay, some responses that you can use. We call these helpful responses. Please, you seem upset, please tell me more. Perhaps I've misunderstood, can you please explain that to me again? Glad you brought it to my attention, I'll look into it. If I understand correctly, you're saying, these are empathetic responses to show empathy. I can appreciate how you're feeling about this. I can see how upsetting it is to you. It would be upsetting to me as well. It certainly sounds like we've caused you some inconvenience. I know I'd be upset if that happened to me. Words to say you understand what they're feeling. And here are some, we call them thanks for complaining statements. Thanks for speaking up. It gives us a chance to fix it, make sure it doesn't happen again. Thanks for taking the time. If you hadn't, we might never have known. I'll try to take care of it as quickly as possible. All right, so what are some of the things to avoid when people complain to you? We talked about not being defensive. Don't ever cite organizational policy. That makes people nuts, okay? You know when it happens to you. Well, you know, the policy is. What do you want to say to that person? Yeah, I don't give a rat's, you know what, about your policy. I've got this problem, okay? Poor listening. Making the person feel like they're getting the runaround. Any nonverbal behavior, facial expressions, etc. Overreacting. Siding against the organization. People don't like that, believe it or not. Even though when it may seem like you're siding with them, by that I mean not that you're saying, listen, I'll fix the problem even though the organization may have caused it. That's not siding with the organization. It's against the organization. That's when somebody says, oh, well, this place here, you know, they always treat people like that. No, they never get it right. Okay. What does that make the person feel? Vulnerable. Okay, and of course, promising too much. You never promise too much. I remember, for those of you who are older, there used to be an old commercial on TV for Arpege perfume. Promise her anything, but give her Arpege. Some of you remember that one. Okay? You don't overpromise. Okay, we talked about referring the complaints. Make sure you've got the facts. Make sure you know what the customer wants. It's always good to ask the customer, what do they want? When someone's complaining to you, are they complaining just because they want you to know about it? Or are they complaining to you because they want certain action? It's always good to know if they want the action, what the action is. What is it that they want? Explain the alternatives. We mentioned that if you happen to promise anything to the customer, make sure your supervisor knows about that. So that if someone else has to pick this up, they know what's already been promised. If you turn an issue over to a colleague, whether it's another physical therapist, it's a nurse, it's someone else, make sure you let them know, number one, what you told the person, and number two, what role, if any, you're going to continue to play. Because at least if you told the person, I'm going to call you back later this afternoon to see how things went, let your colleague know that. So they know ahead of time you're going to make that call.